It was a momentous weekend in the Middle East. In Saudi Arabia today, the government announced it would hold trials for 11 princes accused of corruption. The arrests were part of an unprecedented crackdown and just one of many aggressive moves made by the young Saudi crown prince in the last few days. And that turmoil sent oil prices to a 2-year high today. President Trump, traveling in Asia, took to Twitter moments ago, expressing great confidence in King Salman and the crown prince, saying they know exactly what they're doing. Here's special correspondent Nick Schifrin.
In the name of fighting corruption, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is stamping out opposition and cementing his rule. The 32-year-old ordered the arrests of more than a dozen, including Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, a billionaire who has major investments in Citigroup, Twitter, and Apple, and Prince Mutaib bin Abdullah, the former National Guard chief and most obvious rival. It's not the first House of Saud shakeup, but it's the most rapid, and it centralizes Mohammed bin Salman's power over the military and security services that began earlier this year, when he replaced Mohammed bin Nayef, the former heir to the throne. State TV announced the arrests and accused the princes of embezzlement and stealing public money. That was a message to a Saudi population that's sick of ostentatious royal wealth and eager for reform. That reform is what Mohammed bin Salman is selling, as state-owned oil company Aramco plans to go public and diversify. Mohammed bin Salman, who's known as MBS, has vowed to modernize and fight extremism.
We only want to go back to what we were, moderate Islam that is open to the world, open to all the religions. 70% of the Saudi people are younger than 30, and quite frankly, we will not waste 30 years dealing with extremist ideas.
Mohammed bin Salman has also led a muscular foreign policy to confront Iran, especially in Yemen. For 2 years, a Saudi-led coalition has targeted Iranian allies, the Houthis. The war has caused the world's worst humanitarian crisis. And this weekend, Saudi announced a total blockade. That was in response to the Houthis launching a ballistic missile at Saudi Arabia. A Saudi military spokesman said it intercepted the missile and blamed Iran.
The coalition has ample evidence to prove that Iran is providing weapons to the Houthi armed group.
Saudi's anti-Iran policy extends to Lebanon. Prime Minister Saad Hariri has led a fragile alliance with Iranian-backed Hezbollah. And this weekend, Hariri visited Saudi Arabia and appeared on Saudi-owned TV to resign and blame Iran.
Wherever Iran is present, it plants discord and destruction, attested to by its interference in Arab countries.
Throughout this process, President Trump has lent support, and the Saudi leaders who embraced him have been emboldened. All of this means today might be the most volatile moment for Saudi Arabia in more than half a century. And to discuss that, I'm joined by Bilal Saab. He is the Senior Fellow and Director of the Defense and Security Program at the Middle East Institute. And Aaron David Miller is the Middle East Program Director of the Wilson Center and a former advisor and negotiator in Democratic and Republican administrations. Thank you to you both. And Bilal Saab, let me start with you. Mohammed bin Salman has an ambitious internal agenda that he's looking at over the next few decades. Does he feel the need to consolidate power in order to enact that agenda?
I think so. I mean, I had a chance to meet with Mohammed bin Salman for a good hour in Riyadh not too long ago, and I think this is someone who really doesn't lack ambition. And he strikes me as particularly genuine about his desire to reform his country. That being said, the reform agenda that he has spearheaded, in his mind, I think, requires consolidation of power. I mean, this is now the old Saudis gone. This is MBS land. Therefore, whoever is not on board with this reform process and also is not really investing in this is basically removed.
Okay, Aaron David Miller, can Mohammed bin Salman rule the country from the top down? Absolutely. Can he actually reform from the top?
You know, we're in terra incognita, basically. We've never been here before. I mean, like our political system has never seen a president quite like Donald Trump. Saudis have never encountered a would-be king, not king yet, 30-something who has created an accretion of power which is unprecedented in the history of the kingdom. Now, ruling a country of 33 million people, maintaining the status quo and managing, transacting, if you will, is probably something that is feasible. But MBS aspires to be a transformational leader. And as Bilal has suggested, his first step is to literally repress the opposition, maintain control over the security services, send messages to the economic and financial establishment that he will not tolerate or suffer opposition, and even to try to co-opt the religious establishment that he intends apparently to try to reform. So it's a tough lift for a 33-year-old, let alone for an experienced, prudent, and wise and skilled Saudi leader.
So, Bilal Saab, can he do that? Can he effectively dismantle the version of Saudi governance that we've seen for a long time and pick all of these fights, not only with the princes we talked about, but intellectuals and critical clerics, and succeed?
I mean, what's particularly striking about this move is that really it tells us that he has blown up basically the Saudi system of decision-making, which has been based on consensus. Now it's one person, one decision. And in many ways, that brings some good in it. I mean, the Saudi system of decision-making has been notoriously slow, and it needed reform. But now, basically, it's one person. Whether he makes a mistake, it's basically on him.
Yeah, the buck stops there. Bilal, so let me stick with you just for 1 second. Move the external factors here. Do the steps that he has taken in the last couple of days that increase tension in the Middle East, especially obviously between Saudi and Iran?
Well, certainly it has an enhanced stability. Obviously, this is a much more aggressive stance towards the Iranians. You just heard today what Saudi Foreign Minister Adel Jubeir said about the missile strike from the Houthis against the Saudi airport.
He accused Iran of actually launching that missile into Saudi Arabia.
Precisely, and also Hezbollah, basically. And you're seeing the manifestations of that in several theaters, and some theaters are hotter than others. And you just saw what happened in Lebanon recently with the Prime Minister Saad Hariri resigning. I think that's all part of this new aggressive stance against the Iranians. Now, the question is whether it actually succeed. I mean, what gains do you get out of this? That is very much unclear.
So, Aaron David Miller, can he succeed, or can he get the gains that he wants in the Middle East? And also, President Trump has obviously supported this new Saudi leadership. What's the impact of that?
Well, there's no question about that the administration has invested heavily both in Salman and in Mohammed bin Salman. And the reason is clear. The administration wants to adopt a much tougher policy toward Iran in the region and in the Gulf, and are looking to the Saudis to create something of a vanguard in that regard. And quite extraordinarily, the administration wants to pursue the president's vision of an ultimate deal. And he and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, are banking heavily on some sort of Saudi support.
The ultimate deal, you're talking about the Israel and Palestinian.
Israeli-Palestinian agreement, yeah. And I think both of these things, frankly, are probably bridges too far. But let's be clear about one thing, one unique and extraordinary thing that MBS possesses. It's possible, if Saudi Arabia survives, that this man, when he becomes king, could rule the kingdom of Saudi Arabia healthy, vibrant, and not infirm for almost 50 years. That's an extraordinary arc, and it may well be that time, which is the ultimate arbiter of everything that is of value, in this regard is an ally. But again, I agree with Bilal. The reality, you want to become the supreme leader, which is essentially what he intends to do, perhaps not along the lines of Khamenei, but you want to become the supreme leader, the man to rule, one ring to rule them all, well, then it's all going to fall on you. And the reality is he's banked his fate, his political fortune, on the fact that he has enough horses to pull this wagon, and it won't be easy.
And quickly, Bilal Saab, just last word, regional instability in the near future after the things we've seen in the last couple of days, you think that'll increase that regional instability?
That's a safe assumption, unfortunately, yes.
Okay. Bilal Saab, Aaron David Miller, thank you very much to both of you.
Pleasure.
No problem.